All right, so here we are, the Randy Cross Podcast. This is Season 1. This is Episode 1. I want to thank you for finding us. As always, you can still go to randycross.com for all your needs when it comes to the podcast and everything else. Kind of excited. We're going to be joined today by Tim Brando, former colleague at CBS Sports, now at Fox Sports. He does football. And he does basketball. In fact, he was just involved with the ACC tournament as Raycom signed off from the sports world of doing games. So going to be great to talk to Timmy B, one of the good guys in broadcasting. All right, now time for my rant. They did a poll. And when I say kind of a poll, they did a pretty extensive poll. They talked to about 2,000 millennials. And what they wanted to know was, what is your prime source of stress, just in life in general? And, you know, it's an interesting list, but it really shows what kind of stress millennials really have. 3 and 5 had these comments. 20, washing the dishes, choosing what to wear. Job security is number 18 on the list, which tells you this is a bunch of young people because they're not concerned with job security, evidently. As we keep going down here, 5 of the things on the list were related to your phone or device, either running out of battery, running out of signal, not having Wi-Fi. Number 1 on the list, in fact, 3 of the things on the list too, were related to credit cards, whether it was fraud or losing it or losing the wallet. Kind of interesting. And I hope you get a chance to save stuff like this and then look back on it in 10 years, in 20 years. And you know what? I hope you laugh because things do change. People do get different. And different things mean different things to the same person in the context of time. So, you know, when you say back in my day, well, here we go. Hey, son, I found a picture of your grandfather in the armed services. Now, a good, 40 years from now, there's your grandfather there balancing on a couple of beers. When I was a boy. Well, when I was a boy, my grandfather served in the Army. Well, in 2060, my grandfather, he knew how to use a phone and make himself look like a dog. And, then there's always, my grandfather looked like this. Boy, they took stiff pictures back then. 2090, I don't know what to say. But you get the point. All right? Thank you very much. Time now for the interview section of this show. All right, I'm joined now, as promised, by Tim Brando, former colleague of mine at CBS Sports, now currently employed with Fox Sports. He does college football. He does college basketball. In fact, he was just doing the ACC tournament. Tim, welcome.
Randy, at long last, I'm so glad we were able to get this taken care of. As I'm speaking to you, I'm finally making it home after what has been my usual football, basketball grind of about 8.5 months. And now I'm going to sit back at the chateau and do the Big Daddy B. That's what my grandkids call me. I'm going to do the Big Daddy B thing, watch the tournament with everyone else, and just kind of enjoy the fact that I know I'm not having to prepare for eight teams and 4 games in one day like I used to for all those years.
Oh, yeah.
Play a little golf and enjoy myself,
Hey, to get kind of a busman's holiday starting your Final Four March Madness off, do you have any sleepers for people out there that are doing their last-minute bracket fills?
Yeah, I do. I've got, in my Final Four, I've got Texas Tech making it all the way. I love Chris Beard's team. I love their draw. I think the matchup that could be really fun, I think there are 2 sleepers in that side of the bracket. Nevada made it to the Sweet 16 a year ago, and Texas Tech. And to me, Texas Tech has been proven because of the way they had to play and the competition level that they had in the Big 12. It wasn't easy in that league. It wasn't a vintage year for the Big 12 with Kansas not being necessarily the Kansas of old. But Texas Tech is a lockdown defensive team, and defenses travel. They've got a great shooter in Culver, and I think that they have the ability to do a lot of things in this tournament. And I just like their draw.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Tennessee is the other team that I believe will spoil it for one of the ACC top seeds. I think Virginia is going to run into a really tough and difficult Tennessee team. And I know people are saying, well, they just got their doors blown off by Auburn. Look, that happens. And they had just beaten Kentucky, and I think maybe exhaled a little bit in that game, Randy.
Yeah.
I love Grant Williams. I think the world of Admiral Schofield. And I think the Volunteers under Rick Barnes, they're a veteran team. I think they understand the tournament that they're in and how you go about getting the job done. Virginia's got some limitations, and I saw them, as you know, in the ACC tournament. Florida State, I thought, exposed some of those limitations with their size and with their length. But Tennessee's got all those things, especially power people inside. I see chalk the other way. I think Duke is in a great position, even though they're going to have to work. I mean,
right.
They will be challenged. They will be challenged as quickly as the second round. Either UCF or VCU are athletic and will give them a tough go in the East region. And Virginia Tech has already beaten them. And the Hokies are getting Justin Robinson back. You know, he has not played for the better part of 5 weeks, almost 6 weeks. But he's a great leader. He's a point guard. And with Keel Alexander-Walker as a guard, and with the outstanding play that they get from Blackshear inside, I think they are going to give Duke a great game. And then again, Michigan State is the 2 seed. That's the team that really did get, I thought, a bad break.
Yeah, absolutely.
You probably heard the criticism. They would have been better served losing the Big Ten title game because Michigan didn't get placed on the same side of the bracket as Duke did. But sometimes that's just the way it falls. And but I like Duke getting through, and I like North Carolina to get through. I think the Tar Heels are probably in the best possible position of any of the 1 seeds. And frankly, Randy, I think they're going to play again. I think North Carolina and Duke, for the first time ever, will play in the finals and advance to the championship. And I think in a 4th matchup, I like Carolina. I think they're a more complete team, and I think the Tar Heels are the team to watch now to get it done. Because right now, Duke, as good as they are struggling with their 3-point shooting. They went 2 for 14 in that title game that G-Man and I had, and I'm going to tell you, I think that that's going to be a problem for them. Zion Williamson's a generational player. I mean, he's a once every 20, 25-year guy, but they're not getting the help with the perimeter shot at all from R.J. Barrett or from Cam Reddish. And if Trey Jones is outstanding and can create some turnovers for them against North Carolina, then they get a shot. But I think the way Toby White's playing right now, and the great shooting capability that North Carolina has with Luke May and particularly Cam Johnson, I think he's the best shooter in the country.
Yeah,
I think Roy will beat Kay in that monster. Can you imagine a monster matchup?
That would be fantastic.
At long last, North Carolina, they never played in an NCAA tournament.
Hey, I got a question for you. There's a team that is out there that I'm hearing a lot of talk about, at least in Buffalo, but I don't know much about Buffalo. Do you?
I saw them just a couple of times. Couldn't tell you anything really about them other than they play really tough. They're a transition team. They played Marquette, who's got that outstanding shooting team of theirs with Marcus Howard and company, and I think he went off that night for something like 53 points. But Buffalo wanted to play with them. They wanted to run. They are a speed team. They're a team that I believes that they can. go up against anybody and outshoot them and press and go full court. A lot of times teams like Buffalo, when they play bigger, stronger guys that also can run, they can be in trouble. But they are a tough defensive team as long as they're playing full court pressure. A lot of times full court pressure leads to open looks. I think it depends on the draw with them.
Mm-hmm.
They had some success last year. They returned some of that talent. So, yeah, I've got them, I think, winning their first-round game. I do have them winning their first-round game. So I've got them going to can't remember if they play Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday, but I think I've got them going to the second game.
All righty. Hey, I can't have you on and not talk a little bit of college football. What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts about the 2018 season? And do you think we're going to see as much of sort of the same old groups when it comes to 2019?
Yeah, I mean, Randy, as long as we have these same criteria and play with the playoffs, I don't see any real changes. The bottom line here is, unfortunately, like it or not, you can schedule down if you're Alabama or Clemson, and it doesn't matter. And it's a problem when you're only playing 8 conference games in one league, 9 in another. And the Alabama schedule last year was horrific. This year it's worse than that, and it won't matter.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems that the college game has until they adopt and understand that they need to go to 8. I certainly hope. I know Jim Delaney's leaving the Big Ten after the 2020 season. I sure hope one of his legacies is that he drives through the expansion to 8 teams before he leaves.
Yeah.
I hope that's one of the things that he plans on trying to accomplish, because it's desperately needed.
Well, by the same token, Tim, I mean, you've got Ohio State in the Big Ten, and you've got Oklahoma in the Big 12, and obviously they have competitors. But you take those 4 teams, it's hard to imagine at least 3 of those not being in any kind of a 4-team playoff, but because we've seen such a, not a dearth, but a sort of step back in the Pac-12. That they're either cannibalizing themselves or the recruiting and the level is just not where it's been.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The Pac-12 in general is in peril. This notion that maybe the Big 12 and the Pac-12 might merge down the road one day, I don't think it's happening anytime soon, but it could. Down the road. I mean, I could see that potentially if we ever go to a super conference situation. I also think our old friend Mike Oresco's conference, the American Athletic Conference, is getting hosed. That league is so good, is delivering, not just one great team, usually one great team, but 2 or 3 really good teams. And, I'm here to tell you, I saw enough Pac-12 to know. Now, Oregon will be in good shape. Mario Cristobal has really recruited well. I think they could you could see a resurgence in their game, their team this year, especially with their quarterback, with Herbert back and his brother coming in.
Yeah.
And the recruiting class that Mario had. But other than them, SC's going nowhere fast. Chip still has another. He's going to need 2 or 3 recruiting classes at UCLA.
Yeah, he is.
To get that thing going. Washington's still good, but they're not great. And Washington State is hit and miss based on who the quarterback is. We'll just have to wait and see with them.
Yeah.
But the league in general is suffering, and across the board. Financially, I don't need to tell you how bad the basketball was. They, in my opinion, should have only had 1 team in the tournament. They managed to shoehorn a second one in basketball. But yeah, the problem I have, and I moaned about it this past year, and as you know, because you used to come on my show years ago that was still going on when we went to the playoffs, and no one wanted the playoff more than me, because the godforsaken BCS was the worst thing that was out there. But I'm not sure that the BCS wasn't more inclusive, in the sense that with the metrics that they utilized, it wasn't just human beings saying, "Oh, those are the bigger, stronger, faster guys with the biggest brand, so we're going to bring them in." I think, UCF would have had a better chance of making a potential BCS final than making a 14 playoff.
Yeah,
with the system in play. I mean, that's the sad part of all of this.
Yeah,
if we utilize some form of that, then we would have had more inclusion, but we don't. So I don't want, Randy. I don't want to in July. I don't want to be able to tell everybody who the 4 teams are going to be. Because I know there's parity out there. There's parity.
Absolutely.
But we can't tell with the system in play. You can't tell. It's the same teams every year. And I don't want it to become the NBA. I mean, the last thing I want college football to become is as predictable as the NBA.
Yeah. Humans don't always make things better. Sometimes they need a computer and some stats to figure things out.
Yeah, exactly. And the people on the committee, and I know they're well-reasoned, intelligent people, a lot of older coaches, Randy, that I've respected for many years, but they see the game through the same prism. The kind of guys that would look out there at warm-ups and say, "Well, boy, those guys look like they could play."
Yeah.
Well, I don't want that kind of thinking, slanted thinking, going into the process. If it's the same group of older coaches that believe the game has got to be played one way, then we're going to get these same teams every year. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and then name, that other team that's going to get in there, whether it's Oklahoma, which right now appears to be that team. And once Texas beats them, it'll be another brand name like them, out of the Big 12. So it really shuts the door to any team that comes out of someplace special. And had Washington State beaten Washington last year, I think it could have really exposed this process for what it was, because I thought Washington State, from a defensive standpoint, was better than they'd ever been. And I would have loved for them to have been on the outside looking in with just one loss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
They got a little bit of a break when Washington State lost the Apple Cup. And weather had a lot to do with that, as it oftentimes does in that game for Leach. But one of these years, either a team like them or somebody else is really going to get hosed and won't have a chance to get in, and it's just a damn shame. College football deserves to do a better job for itself than it currently is. And this 14 playoff right now is as bogus a process and as exclusive a club as I think I've ever seen. And we just don't need it. I mean, Nick Saban's a great coach. Alabama is going to be is a juggernaut. I don't want to rain on any. I'm not raining on any of their parades. Okay, I'm not. But when all you have to do is just line up and play 8 teams, and you can go and play Arkansas State and Louisiana Lafayette and the Citadel in November and get away with it. That is pathetic.
There's something wrong with that.
Absolutely pathetic.
All right. Hey, Timmy B, thank you so much, and safe travels. Good luck getting back to the chateau, and all the best. And enjoy your time as the grandfather for a few months.
Man, Archie Manning told me a long time ago, he said, "Man, I didn't know I'd have 2 first-round picks. I didn't know that I'd have 2 MVPs and Super Bowls, but I got news for you. Those 6 grandchildren are even better." And he was so right.
Yep. Yes, he is.
Greatest. Super talking to you, Randy, and continued success. And give my guys up there in 43 that you're working with, many of whom I shared time in the booth with, a big hello. Okay?
All right, I sure will, Tim. Thanks, man.
Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Great stuff with Timmy B. And hopefully you know a little bit more about basketball, maybe a little bit more about college football. But you'll agree with me, this is one of the good guys in broadcasting when it comes to college sports. All right, speaking of sports, time for our sports news. All right, my favorite sports stories for this past weekend. Pretty quick and easy to get those together. The Players' Championship moved from May to March. Used to be in March, now it's back there. Rory McIlroy, amazing job, especially on Sunday when everybody else in that tournament was basically throwing up all over themselves. Rory McIlroy hit clutch shot after clutch shot, won by one stroke over Jim Furyk, who hit an amazing approach shot on 18, which just wasn't quite enough. And Rory McIlroy gets himself a big win. He had finished in the top 5, like in the last 6 tournaments he'd played in. So he finally breaks through again and gets himself another win. Now, my second favorite note in the game of sports is March Madness. Yeah, this is probably the period of time during the year that people at work get the least amount of work done. Because, at this taping, this is Tuesday. So that means the play-in games. And that's going to happen. Those are going to happen today and tonight. And that'll set this bracket to be exactly in. So if you're watching this on Wednesday and you don't have your brackets in, you're too late. You're not going to make it. Now you just get to fill these out and do them for the fun of it. And we put in a static, still basketball because, well, up until the Monday of the Masters, Monday night, when the final 4 game is played, that's the most still you're going to see a basketball for the next 3 weeks or so. Have a great time and enjoy March Madness. My third favorite sports story of the week, Haloti Ngata came out of Oregon a while ago, about 14 years ago. 6'4", 340 pounds. He was drafted in the first round by the Ravens, played some with the Lions. He got around. Was it the Eagles in 2018? And he's a guy that had a huge presence, but it was the way he retired. I retired. I announced mine at Media Day of the Super Bowl in January of '89. He had a little bit more unique way of doing it. He joined a group of NFL players climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, gets to the top, and unfurls that banner and announces his retirement from the NFL. Great for you. This is one of the good guys. This was an amazing player, and he's able to go out and finish his career on his own terms. Congratulations, and best of luck in your next life.
You better grab your blankie and just squeeze it real tight. These people need to get a real life.
Yeah, Chad Prather's little ditty. I love that. I love me some Wambulance. Today's Wambulance is centered around something I was shocked to find still existed, frankly. MySpace. Are you still on MySpace? I think at one time I had an account, but once the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that started, I kind of lost touch. Well, they made a confirmation. Now, a couple years back, they said, we might have messed up and lost something. Well, yesterday or the day before, they announced and confirmed, yes, they had. They lost 12 years of music. 12 years. You know how much music that is? That's in all the accounts. 12 years of music on MySpace? Is that really that big a deal? I don't know. Now, if you were to tell me some of these old TV shows were making comebacks, yeah, you might get a little rise. I might say, yeah, that's great. All the archives of Friends, yeah, or 90210 or Fresh Prince or Welcome Back Kotter. Yeah, I'd be concerned. But MySpace lost 12 years of music? There have been 12 years of MySpace? I didn't know that. I don't know. I'm showing my age. All right, time now for my favorite section every week, the feel-good story.
This is the good news. This is the good news.
All right, time now for our feel-good story of the week. And again, It involves animals. And again, it comes from our friends at the Dodo. And this is a story about a gentleman in Greece named Takis. And what Takis does is he checks empty lots, he checks dumpsters, he goes down to the beach, and he rescues puppies. And whether you know this or not, there are people just flat leaving puppies all over the place, especially in Greece. Watch this, it'll break your heart.
3 more puppies. I can't leave them here, so I will take them with me. Πού τα είδες? Μάλιστα. Look at this. We have to look around, maybe we'll find more.
One woman called me. She said that they have abandoned 2 puppies next to the sea. They just throw them there.
Good morning, Κύκλοπα. Λένα μου.
Go immediately to the puppies. And she adopted them.
Beautiful little bears looking for a home. A super small, cute boy. Χαρά is looking for a home. Oh my God.
That's a special individual. Taking care of all those puppies, a huge need. He sees it and he's filling it. God bless you, Takis. All right. I want to remind you where to find this Randy Cross podcast. You go to randycross.com. You are in all the same platforms, but at Twitter, it's at RCP_fans. That's our fan page. You'll find us on YouTube, Facebook, the same group of access points, but you can always find this podcast at randycross.com. I think you're going to really, really like this golf version of Happy Trails.